Hi, I'm Ryan Hay. This is Krissy Knox. We're a brother-sister bow hunting team for Bowtech. Today, we're going to break down our pack of what we carry into the backcountry with us. We'll talk about how we pack the pack and all the items inside of it. Particularly for us, we do mostly elk hunting in the backcountry, so we have some items that are more specifically catered towards that. And we'll get started with Krissy.
Okay, so when we're backcountry hunting, a lot of times you might be dropping off a bunch of your gear at a spike camp. Some people carry all their gear with them all day long so that they can just camp wherever they happen to be that night. Either way, you have a big pack on your back. And when you get in the heat of the moment, you might need to put a stalk on an animal or get closer to a herd, and you want to make yourself as small as possible. So I always like to have the essentials on my person at all times so that I can strip my pack quickly and go in after an animal if I need to. Obviously, the most important of those items is your bow. I'm running a 7-arrow tight spot quiver right now, which is awesome because you can have a few extra broadheads plus a small game point in case you are, able to take a grouse. That's great backcountry food if you have the opportunity. You got your release obviously on you. Your binos and your rangefinder are a must. These are attached to me at all times. I also have my wind indicator attached. All three of those things are things I use constantly. If I'm putting a stalk on an animal, you have to pay attention to the wind all the time. A couple of things I don't have here are your calls. If you're elk hunting, you're going to want a reed in your mouth, possibly a bugle tube, whatever you think you might need to close the deal. I also always keep my GPS in my pocket, especially if you're solo hunting. If you drop your pack somewhere, you want to be able to find it again. So make sure you mark your pack and keep this GPS on you. If you have your cell phone, I usually throw that in my pocket as well. It's great for taking pictures, or if for some reason you get service. It's a miracle if you do, but if you do get service, you have your phone on you. So it's really important that you be able to just come back to these essentials really quickly and leave the rest of your gear somewhere else. Because we're there to hunt, we're there to harvest an animal, and being able to travel light and fast is going to make you more successful in the field.
So before you're going into the backcountry, obviously a very important part is selecting a pack that is going to do what you want it to do and need it to do. There's a lot of good packs on the market nowadays, and the more you can try on and fit to you and kind of see what you like and dislike about packs is going to be very beneficial. So finding like the right size pack. So are you doing an overnight, or you want to do 2 to 5 days, or are you going to go for the week, 7 to 10 days? Finding that cubic inch that's gonna work for you and the gear that you're gonna need to carry is very important. Biggest point for Krissy and I in selecting the pack is that obviously it's the right size and carries what we need, but it has to be able to carry meat and our gear at the same time, because if we have to do a wasted trip just to get gear out and then come back for meat with a packed frame, that's wasted time hunting, that's wasted energy on our legs, and it's just not a good useful for your time that you wait for all year.
Yeah, we want to maximize our vacation time, so if we can do that with our gear, all the better. So now you've chosen your pack, you have it at home. What do you do with it now? Well, the biggest mistake you can make is waiting to use it until you actually leave for your hunt. You've chosen it, now you need to use it. You need to load it down with some weight. Practice what you're going to take into the backcountry, see how to distribute that weight so it's comfortable, and use it. Go for hikes. If it has any squeaks that are going to get in the way of your hunting or just be annoying, make sure you address those issues. If it's rubbing in certain areas, make sure the torso adjustments are fitted for you. These packs have tons of adjustment, and you can make them fit you perfectly, but it's no fun to do it when you're in the field supposed to be hunting and having fun. You want to have all those kinks worked out before you get out there.
Okay, now we're going to start breaking down the pack. We'll go compartment by compartment, what items are in each one, and briefly talk about each item. First, I'll just say I got my bugle tube strapped to the side here, so I'll go and remove that off. And you can figure out what the best way to strap that to your pack is if you'd like to just carry it or whatever. With each pack, for me and Krissy, we like to designate a pocket that is our hunting pocket. For lack of better terms. Stuff that we need once we get to our spike camp and drop everything off. Stuff that we're going to want with us while we're out hunting. In this particular pack, I've done that with the lid pocket. Seems to be a good spot it's too small for a lot of other things, but really good for holding those essential items. And I'll
you
just
can
start.
get to them quickly.
Right. and I'll just start breaking that down. So paracord, obviously, most bow hunters are going to have paracord for lots of different reasons. Most of the time for us, it's during when we're quartering out an animal, whether it's to hang quarters from a tree or to tie a leg, so we can actually have two people working on different parts of the elk, so you can tie a leg to a tree to hold it in place. But we usually carry 50 feet of paracord.
We always have a locator device on us. There's several options out there. This is the Spot. InReach is another good one. Just a way to quickly let everyone know back home that you're okay, or if you do need help, or a way to signal SOS or the authorities in an emergency situation. So just a nice safeguard in case you don't have cell service or another way to contact people. Some people will carry a satellite phone when they get too deep in, if they're going to need to call a packer. You need to know you're going to have service of some sort. That's also an option, a little more expensive, but just have something so that people at least know where you are and that you're okay on a daily basis.
Allen wrenches. So just in case, we carry a set of Allen wrenches for on our bow. If anything comes loose, we want to be able to retighten it. We don't want to have our bow out of service just for a simple Allen screw being loose. So we carry a set of Allen wrenches.
Always have extra batteries for all of your devices, whether it be your locator device, your headlamps, your flashlights, your GPS. Things can get left on accidentally or get turned on in your pack. You want to be able to know you're going to have what you need for the rest of the trip. So extra batteries, I know they're heavy, but they're worth it.
So I have a flashlight. This is a little Surefire. It's very bright. Good for tracking. We usually use headlamps, but this is a very bright, compact, small light that we've used for many years, and it's served us very well.
And then you, of course, always want to have a headlamp.
A little tangled up.
It's real. This is what our backs look like. So you'll have a headlamp. We usually keep these pretty accessible if you're hiking in the morning. I like to have a headlamp that has the infrared light, just because animals can see the white light. Keep that accessible. I learned to pack a second headlamp back in the rest of my gear. Oftentimes they just randomly stop working, or you get in a rainstorm and they will shut down until they dry. We've been caught by that, and it's come in handy to always have two headlamps on us. It's worth packing the extra weight.
And with this pack, it came with some small pouches, so I made one as a kill kit. So within this kill kit, just anything that we would need after the shot. So we have tracking ribbon, to our knives, to our tags, to gloves, to Ziploc and garbage bags. Just all the essentials, knife sharpener, any of the essentials that you're going to need while you're tracking or quartering up an animal. Keeps it nicely contained in here, so if once after the shot I can just grab this pouch, and I should have pretty much everything I need within this. So.
And then for especially me, I can't grow a nice beard after 5 or 6 days of elk hunting, so I'm big on face concealment, and I don't like to wear like a face mask or anything, so I always carry face paint with me. It's just one of those things you're sweating all day long, so you can reapply it. I like having it with me, and it's just a little bit of a safeguard in case you get up close and personal. You're not have this blinding white face.
The last items here, I'll just grab them. Oops, throwing stuff. We have a compass, and some zip ties. So we have a compass. Obviously, they're good to have in case your GPS in some nature fails, which we've had that happen. And then a good topo map. We always carry a map of whatever area we're going to be particularly in for that hunt.
And know how to use your compass. Get out there, take an orienteering class. Know what to do with it. Just having it doesn't really do you a whole lot of good unless you know how to use it. And as Ryan was throwing around, zip ties are a lifesaver, and they weigh nothing. We've had straps break in the backcountry. We've had meat strapped onto our pack that it kept shifting. And it is amazing what a little plastic zip tie can do for your comfort getting out or even getting your pack out. So 2,
And they're like
3, 4 of these.
impossible to break.
They're amazing. So it took us a while to figure that little trick out, but we never go in without them.
I think the last thing we have in there is an extra trigger release. This is very important. I know, again, it's extra weight, and people try to cut as much weight as possible, but we try to eliminate anything that's going to potentially take us completely out of service from being able to shoot our bow and hunt, which is what we're back there for. So this could save you a trip, whether you lose your release for some reason or it fails. Straps break. We've had a strap break before. So having an extra trigger release is very important. All right, so the next compartment we're going to break down is more of the essentials, what you want to be able to get to quick. This is more for what you want to get to quickly when you get to your spike camp, and also some of the bigger items that just don't have to be inside the pack for protection reasons. This is our decoy, which is just more for convenience. That's where it sits best. It's tucked in there. We use these quite a bit. If you're, that's a whole other spiel in itself.
Yeah, it is.
Decoys. But,
We like to have all our options
yeah,
when we're back
so we
there.
carry a decoy with us. Biggest thing I carry out here, it's still protected but easily accessible. All you gotta do is just pull it out, is my tent. That way when we get to where we're camping, all my stuff, sleeping bag, food, clothes, everything is still inside the pack, and I can set up my tent. And then I can take the pack inside the tent and actually start taking out my sleeping bag, laying it out, laying my pad out. So I have the biggest thing for accessibility is my sleeping, or my tent. Other items that I do carry back here, just like I said, because they're a little bit bigger and take up some space, they fit good back there. This we normally, depending on the water, how much water is in the area we're going, we would usually have an extra platypus filled up. So we'd each have at least an extra liter of water with us, and I would tuck that in here. But on top of that, having an empty one's a good idea too, because if you are in hunting and you find water, you want to have an extra one so you can actually fill it up when you're out hunting. And then lastly, what I shoved in here is just, it is my mattress for sleeping. It's in a protective carrying case, and it just, like I said, it fits easy back there and saves space for the more essential stuff inside of the pack. And that's kept kind of on this pack is more, it's like the meat shelf is basically where I'm doing this, between the main pack and the frame.
So next we'll start on one of these side pockets that's still pretty accessible. This is my water filter. I use the Sawyer system. It's super lightweight. I've been using it now for like 4 years. We typically like to have 2 ways to filter water between the 2 of us. Usually we'll have a water filter and like some iodine tablets. But this is a great filter to have. It's small, it fits in wherever you need it to go. And we keep that with us all the time. We don't leave that at the spike camp because you just never know when you're going to run into water. Some years it's really hard to find water, and you might only find it once in 4 days, and you want to be able to get as much as you can at that time. So I always keep my water filter on me. Another thing is packable rain gear. I cannot stress this enough. Never leave this in camp.
Yeah. Or up on top of a ridge.
Or on top of a ridge. You just never know when it's gonna rain in the backcountry, and it can come on hard and fast, and it's actually dangerous if you aren't prepared and can't stay dry. So always have. This stuff packs into nothing, so it's well worth the investment. Very thin, very lightweight. It's something I will not leave camp without. And here's another item we found to be really essential, but also just nice to have. Just a down jacket. Packs, they weigh absolutely nothing. They pack into like a baseball size. If you're glassing and it's a chilly morning, just to cut that chill, you throw this on you while you're sitting there. Or if you get in a situation where you have to stay overnight, or it just happens to drop down below freezing, being able to throw on a down jacket and keep your core temperature warm is essential to survival. So it's not something we always did, but in the last few years we have, and it's proven itself many times.
Even for sleeping, if it drops down
Yes.
really cold all of
Yeah.
a sudden, colder than you expected or were prepared for, that with base layers is going to keep you very warm inside of your sleeping bag. So.
And if your sleeping bag doesn't go down to a certain temperature, they're expensive, and if you have one that only goes down 15-20 degrees, that's a way to supplement that sleeping bag. A lot of people will go with a lighter weight sleeping bag and just put on more clothes at night that they're going to have with them anyway.
Okay, now we're going to do the pocket that's just on the opposite side of the pack of what Krissy just did. Also attached to the strap, something very important I'll talk about quickly, is have a way of waking yourself up in the backcountry. We have forgotten that a few times when we were learning, and it's not effective to not wake up at first light. So we've learned to carry a watch. Seems to be the most effective, longest battery life, bulletproof basically. You can't rely on your cell phone because the battery life it won't even last overnight if you have it on the whole time. So have some means of an alarm clock, and we've just found it the easiest to be a watch. Then again, this is a fairly accessible pocket, but it's stuff that I can just kind of leave in here for when we're hunting too. We have game bags. So nowadays they're making really lightweight, compact game bags. There's 4 elk game bags in here, quarter bags, and that's tiny and very lightweight. So it's a lot more effective to carry 4 of them. A lot of times we might even break it down to she carries 2 and I carry 2 because you only need enough for 1 elk because you're going to start packing that elk and get back to the truck before we likely are going to kill another one. So, but that is 4, so that's very easily packed and carried by one of us. And then some other kind of essential items that I want with me at all times when we're out hunting is I have my fire starter kit. So I have little fire starter sticks, waterproof matches, and I have a lighter. So I have two ways of starting a fire, and then I have a source of actually kindling. Most likely you'll find something out there, but if everything's wet or you just don't know what kind of conditions you're gonna come into, so we just carry a couple of those fire sticks there.
And it really can go from 80 to 30 degrees just like that. So sometimes it's easy to be at camp saying, oh, I don't need this today, I don't need this. 90% of the time you're probably right. But when you do need it, you want to have it. So just buck up and carry it.
Yeah, it's worth it. A lot of these items you'll hopefully never use, but when you need it, you need it.
Yeah.
And put it in a Ziploc bag, because if everything gets drenched, I mean, like I said, I have waterproof matches, but if everything else is soaking wet, the lighter's not going to work. It's just not going to be as effective. So put it in something that's going to keep it dry, because if you're out in the rain, so's your pack. Lastly, this is kind of a makeshift first aid kit. You can buy, official ones that are probably better packaging. But we always have a first aid kit on us with a variety of stuff within it, from band-aids to bandages, triangle bandages for splinting, medical tape and cling wrap to scissors, tweezers, antibiotic ointment.
Don't want to forget pain reliever. I always like to have aspirin on me, ibuprofen. I've learned to pack Benadryl in case you get a bee sting or somebody's with you that doesn't know they're allergic or something weird happens. It's just nice to know you can get somebody safely out and get them to help if you need to.
So, and that is something that you can have just one of you carry if you wanted to. I mean, it's not bad for both of you to have it, but if you're trying to cut weight or just kind of eliminate what you don't need, as long as you have a first aid kit between you and your partner and you're going to be together, then it would be okay to carry one of those.
All right, so we'll open this side now, and this is just kind of where some of the bigger items are kept. This pocket happens to be a great place to put your sleeping bag. Lots of different size sleeping bags. Some of them compact, smaller, some are bigger. Where basically your sleeping bag goes wherever it fits best. Also in here is our camp stove. It just runs on a fuel. This particular one's a jet boil, and you're just able to heat up water in there and pour it right into your dehydrated meals, or you can make coffee, whatever it is you want, soup. It's just kind of a great all-in-one stove. We always carry a bowl. We like to take oatmeal and stuff into the backcountry, just a fold-up bowl. And what we call the ladle, nice long, if you guys have ever eaten a mountain house with a normal sized spoon, you end up with your whole arm in there. So just a real light titanium spoon, and that's pretty much all you need for your cooking essentials. Our typical backcountry hunts are probably 2, 3, 4 days. And whatever dehydrated meals, whether you make them at home, whether you do mountain house, house. There's lots of options out there. We'll usually do 1 meal per day, and then we'll have like a big gallon Ziploc full of high protein snacks, whether it be nuts, granola bars, protein bars, dried fruit, whatever you like.
We'll pre-make sandwiches
Yes.
sometimes, peanut
Yep.
butter and jelly sandwiches.
Yep.
You know, because you're gonna want something fairly
Yeah.
bigger for lunches.
High calorie, more calories with
Yeah.
less weight is kind of what you're after.
From there, again, I have another one of these little pouches. It's pretty handy. So this is just basically as my toiletries for in camp. So I have toilet paper, which is good for at camp, but always have that on you as well.
Ever important.
Yes, keep that at all times. I have just a little small cut-off toothbrush just to cut weight, and then a small a toothpaste, just to at least be able to brush your teeth every now and then. And that's really the biggest items I keep in there. It's just a simple pocket in there that keeps that contained together. And I also, another important thing with the toilet paper, just like the fire starter, put it in a Ziploc bag, because again, if your pack gets wet and that gets ruined.
Ziploc bags weigh nothing, and we put everything in them, whether
Yeah.
it be a camera or whatever it is you're carrying that you don't want to get wet. It's the cheapest, lightest way to do that.
It helps contain it and keep it dry.
Exactly. So the last thing that we have in the pack is going to be clothing. This is one of those items that's going to vary with what you're hunting, where you're hunting, what weather you're hunting in, and how long you're going to be in. But basically, for us, we'll do 2 to 4 day backcountry hunts. Let's just assume we're walking in with a decent pair of synthetic pants. Usually we're hiking, we get pretty warm, so we'll have a synthetic shirt on. Whatever boots you're comfortable in and that are gonna be able to get you through a storm if need be. You need to have waterproof boots and a ball cap. That's typically what we'll hike in wearing. So what you want to have in your pack as far as extra, it really can vary.
So as you were saying, it can vary a lot of what you're going to carry is going to vary from person to person. You'll learn what you need, what people like to have. Everyone has their own opinions. But biggest things to factor in are know your weather forecast. At least have an idea what might be coming. That obviously, take it with a grain of salt, could change in a half hour. So this is just kind of a generic what we would typically pack for in September, with knowing that there could be a possible thunderstorm coming through. So lightweight
or freezing weather.
Right, it does get cold, and it can do it very quickly. So we'll usually carry a lightweight pair of gloves. Typically is good for those early mornings when your hands can be really cold, especially if you're setting up, calling, and you're holding your bow. It's really cold. We have, along with our ball cap, we'll have a stocking cap as well. Again, usually a lot of this is used early morning unless there's a storm moving in.
That's great to have also for sleeping at night. If you do get a cold night, I mean, that's where you lose most of the heat from your body. So just putting a beanie on at night can save you a lot of heat.
Yep. And since we're with what we take in for warmth, we'll each carry a base layer, bottom and top, just synthetic, lightweight. It's not real heavy, but these are great if it is really cold in the morning or throughout the day. But honestly, what we've used it most for is when you come back from a long day of hunting, you can then take off your hunting clothes to let them hang them up so that they can air out and dry out, and then you can sleep in these, which makes for a really good. It usually gets cold enough to where it feels good to have a nice base layer on. You can sleep in just these, and they're dry and clean.
And by the time morning rolls around, as long as it's not storming, your clothes outside are aired out and dry again for you the next day.
Yeah. And very important to carry is extra pair of socks. You're going to go through socks, they're going to get sweaty, and if they don't get dried out, they're going to start to stink, and if they don't get dried out, that's when your feet are going to start getting tore up. And the second you start getting blisters or your feet get hot spots, the hunting isn't nearly as much fun. So we carry at least one pair of extra socks. Again, depends on how many days we're going in there. If we're going in for 5, then I'd probably throw in just an extra pair, even 2 extra pairs of socks. They don't weigh anything, and they're going to be a lifesaver because
your feet are what get you in. Your feet are what get you out. Yeah. And so if you opt to pack nothing else in, at least pack socks.
Yes.
Your feet are.
It's crucial.
Yeah, it is.
If anyone has had blisters, they know what we're saying.
Yeah.
So Krissy mentioned, we usually would wear a synthetic shirt going in. We both will pack a cotton shirt as well. Again, these are usually for the early morning before you're really hot, depending if you're hiking, depending on temperatures. But we'll do this in conjunction with either a base layer or it's just a cotton shirt alone, depending on temperature. But I will take one cotton shirt, and then we'll take a lightweight to medium weight jacket. We had our down jacket, which is great for glassing or again sleeping in, but we also want a jacket if it is cold weather or you want to have something that you can hunt in that is going to still have your camouflage. So we will carry one lightweight, packable, pretty compact jacket.
So this bag, fully loaded, without water, is going to be between 33 and 35 pounds with all your food. Depending on how much water you pack in, or if water is available when you get there, you may not have to pack as much. Typically our packs will weigh just around 40, maybe a little bit more if we're taking in, a couple liters of water. And I mean, that varies. I know people that pack in with 30 pounds, and I know people that pack in with 60. So it's a matter of what your body's conditioned for and what you need. But that's just typically what ours will weigh. You can cut a little bit of weight if you're hunting in a partner situation. When Ryan and I go in, we try to distribute it just so we have more space in our packs as well. But you can get away with one tent. If it's a 2-man tent, you can just take one tent. One of you can just take a stove. You don't both need to have a stove. Same with the water filter. Just go through your items. If you're going to pack in, have everybody lay their stuff out and see where you can cut weight safely and still have a good time. So don't be afraid to do that. And that's about all we have for you. Hopefully you guys get an opportunity to go out and use your backcountry packs and have some success. And we'll see you out there. Hunt happy.
Good luck.